Welcome back. For the second consecutive month, Corelogic downgraded their 12-month housing market forecast. So in today's video, I'm going to share the predictions through June of 2024, as well as the top 5 US cities in which they believe home prices will decrease the most over the next 12 months. Corelogic also reported that the growth rate in home prices over the past 1 year was nearly an 11-year low. With that said, I have a lot to share in today's video. Of course, if you guys get any value out of today's video, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Also, consider subscribing as well. I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can make a more informed decision about whether to buy or sell a house. So with that said, let's begin today's video. So before I share their forecast, here's what they said here in the report here, just posted on August 1st. Home prices nationwide, including distressed home sales, which are defined by short sales and foreclosures, for example. So home prices nationwide increased year over year by 1.6% in June 2023 compared to June last year. What's wild about this is that prices only increased by 1.6% over the previous 12 months, whereas 1 year ago, Corelogic reported an increase of 18%, which is absolutely insane. And that, of course, was for the time period June 2021 to June of 2022. Corelogic also says here that on a month-to-month basis, home prices increased by 0.5% compared to May this year. Before I shared their housing market forecast through June of 2024, here's what their previous predictions were starting in January this year. So starting in January 2023 to January 2024, their prediction was an increase of 3.1% in home prices nationwide. Then in February, they were forecasting for a gain of 3.7%. Their third consecutive upward revision in their 12-month housing market forecast. Then in March through March 2024, they are predicting increasing of prices up by 4.6%, the fourth consecutive upward revision. Then in April through April 2024, they were forecasting for a gain of 4.6%, flat from the previous month. Then last month, May to May, they are predicting that home prices will increase by 4.5%, a slight downward revision in their housing market forecast. Then enter this month, June 2023 to June of 2024, their real estate market predictions is a gain of 4.3%, their second consecutive downward revision in their 12-month housing market forecast. And going back to Corelogic's report here is their forecast right there, a gain of 4.3% through June of 2024. They're also predicting that home prices will increase by 0.6% through July this year. According to Corelogic's chief economist, Selma Hilp, she had this to say, while annual home price growth remained near an 11-year low in June at 1.6%, the gain was slightly higher than in May. Back in May, they're actually quoted that home prices increased by 1.4%, whereas this June, compared to last June, an increase of 1.6%. This is according to their chief economist here, saying this could be indicating that home price appreciation could be bottoming out. Corelogic also expects that year-over-year U.S. home price appreciation is to pick up for the rest of 2023 and reach about 7% by early 2024. The key word right here is year-over-year changes, though, because I honestly believe this as well, because in the second half in 2022, like I mentioned in previous videos, our housing market fell off a cliff because rates went from 3.3% to about 7.3% by the time we hit October last year, which really caused our housing market to be in a deep freeze, right? And that's one reason why we saw inventory levels increase, because we had a strong pullback in demand. And that's why, of course, home prices decreased so much last year. Whereas this year, rates have been very high at around at or above 6% all year. And right now, at the time of filming this video, for people with great credit, average rates are around 7.1% as of August 2nd of this year. So because rates have been fairly elevated this year, but they're not doubling like we saw last year, we'll likely see that home price gains year over year will actually increase over the next several months. Of course, this is pure speculation, and of course, I am not a real estate market fortune teller, but if inventory levels for existing houses remain at historically low levels, and of course, we don't see giant surges or decreases in rates, to me, this makes sense that we're not going to see this sharp pullback in home prices compared to last year. But of course, please leave me a comment below with your thoughts regarding this. Okay, let's get back to Corelogic's report here, because they say here that 10 states, including DC, posted annual home price decreases in June compared to last June, with some of the largest losses again recorded in the Northwest. However, since Western states are still grappling with a lack of houses for sale, prices in those regions are likely to remain elevated over the long term. And speaking of that, the 11 states in which home prices are down year over year are Arizona, Colorado, California, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New York, Oregon, Utah, Washington, as well as Washington, D.C. Those posted the biggest decreases in home prices from 1 year ago. So that is 10 states plus DC. So let's just call it 11 states. When I made this video 1 month ago, so this was May 2022 to May 2023, there was actually 12 states that were down on a year-over-year basis, whereas this report here for June, we have 11 states. And again, if I had to put on my real estate market fortune teller hat on, I would imagine the number of states down year over year is likely to decrease in the months ahead because home prices really started falling off the cliff in July, August, and September last year, whereas this year, I would imagine we'll probably not see that same scenario because, again, rates are not skyrocketing like they did last year. Of course, a lot could change though, and I'll definitely keep you posted with the latest developments. So I want to share again the states in which home prices have increased the most though, and that is this right here. So New Jersey led the nation for home price gains from June last year to June this year, an increase of 6.9%. After that was New Hampshire, Vermont, Indiana, Wisconsin, Maine, Missouri, Connecticut, South Carolina, and Delaware. Also, something important to note here is that not a single state has now posted an increase of more than 7%, which is drastically different compared to 1 year ago, because look at this. This is the change from June 2021 to June of 2022. The top 10 states all above 19%, which of course is absolutely insane. Something worth noting as well is that Florida led the nation, and actually led the nation for quite some time, a gain of 31.8%, whereas this year they haven't even made it into the top 10. And same goes for Tennessee, Arizona, as well as North Carolina, rounding out the top 5, whereas this year they haven't even made it to the top 10. In any case, some pretty big changes happening right now in the US housing market. Here's also a map they posted for this June as well. So the dark blue is year-over-year changes of less than 1%. So this could be a gain of 0.01% to 0.9% or a decrease. So it's interesting to see here that besides Louisiana and New York, more or less if you split the US in half, the western states are posting the biggest decreases, whereas the eastern half of the United States are posting the biggest increases. Corelogic also provided home price changes for 10 of the biggest cities as well in the US here. So before I share that, take a look at the chart from 1 year ago. This is from, again, June 2021 to June 2022, giant increases in prices of more than 9%. Much of these markets are in the range of 15 to 20% gains. The biggest increase was actually in Miami, Florida, a giant increase of 25.3%. Also in Phoenix, a giant increase of 26.1%. So that was 1 year ago. Have a look at the chart this June, which is right here. Night and day difference compared to 1 year ago, because most of these markets here are down year over year, whereas last year they're up by more than 9%. In fact, though, the biggest increase is still Miami, Florida, a gain of 8.9%. In contrast, Phoenix, Arizona is down by 5.5%, whereas 1 year ago, they were up by 26.1%. We're also seeing decreases year over year in San Diego, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, as well as Denver, Colorado. Whereas Houston, Texas, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Boston barely squeaked out a gain in home prices from 12 months ago. And lastly, they provided the top 5 U.S. markets in which they believe home prices will decrease the most over the next 12 months. So number 1, Cape Coral, Florida, or Fort Myers, Florida, a very high probability that prices will decrease over the next 12 months. Number 2 spot is in Northport, Sarasota, Florida, and then followed by that was Provo, Utah, Spokane, Washington, and Lakeland, Winter Haven, Florida, rounding out the top 5. So please leave me a comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Of course, I appreciate you. Also, consider subscribing as well, of course, as well. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.